I'm Shelley Stern-Grach, and I want to welcome you to this next edition of Civic Chat, Networking Our Neighborhoods. Our guest today is MarySue Barrett of the Metropolitan Planning Council, or MPC. MarySue, it is great to have you here today. Thank you for coming.
I'm delighted to be asked.
Thank you. So let's start by telling everybody what the MPC is and what your scope is.
So our name sometimes confuses people. The Metropolitan Planning Council has been here in Chicago, the Chicago metropolitan region, for 80 years.
Oh my goodness.
And we're not part of government. So we're an independent, not-for-profit, and we work across neighborhoods and communities, across issues, and our role is really as a problem solver.
Oh, that's terrific. And so tell us a little bit about some of the big initiatives you're working on.
So our expertise is on the building blocks of growth. What makes our city and our region healthy economically from a sustainability perspective, and also from an equity perspective, making sure no one and no area is left behind. So when we work on a range of issues, we might bring information and data and communications. We might also do a demonstration project to just show, hey, this is possible. And we work with business, we work with community leaders, and we definitely work with government every day.
You know, it seems like whenever there are major issues affecting, I'll call it the Burnham Plan, or growth of Chicago, park districts, Obama Library, whatever it might be, that the MPC is there and present and engaged. Can you talk about that aspect of what you do a bit?
It's something I really enjoy, and I think that the people, both staff and volunteers, we've got hundreds of active volunteers. It's a big part of our secret sauce, that it's a part of what makes, I think, this city so special and so unique. In fact, I get that question a lot from people around the country and around the globe. How is it that Chicago gets people engaged? And I think it's because we have a sense of we must do better. And Metropolitan Planning Council is really at the fulcrum of that. So we're often the group that brings people together, and it's definitely not to just talk about it, it's to get something done. So we have a real bias for action, and we are not experts on everything, so that is helpful in bringing together partners. So we know we might know about infrastructure and finance and housing and community development, but if the issue is about public safety, which is often intertwined, we need to make sure we have the right partners at the table.
I think that's a really important aspect of what you do. Number one, this convening capability, thought leadership capability, but also you have this ability to look at Chicago as a whole, but also pulling out the individual personalities and the individual requirements of the neighborhoods. And I think that's very unique.
Well, we talk about celebrating Chicago as a city of neighborhoods. Sometimes we've gotten tripped up by our own complex government, and MPC tries to surmount that, to point out our commonalities.
That's great.
The city of Chicago has so many strengths, but many people who live in the city work at suburban jobs, so we have to be part of the whole metropolitan economy.
So let's talk about a couple key areas that I know you're focusing on. Tell me about what you're doing in the area of transportation and transforming transportation.
Absolutely. Well, the things that people deal with every day are often motivating to me to make sure that we're having an impact on. And if there's probably one top of mind issue, if it's not the weather, it's the traffic, right?
Yes.
Every morning,
especially during summer, construction
season or a storm, a weather event. And regardless of how people commute, we have an antiquated system of bridges and freight rail that shares the same tracks with our commuter rail system, transit system that's terrific, but is been neglected. So every once in a while there's this window of opportunity, and MPC is an organization that tries to be ready to seize that. We worked very closely with Governor Rauner. I was one of the co-chairs of his infrastructure transition committee, and what we want to be ready to do is to tell people what can change. There's a real sense of is traffic something that we just roll our eyes about? And we've brought together a group of folks under Accelerate Illinois.
Accelerate Illinois.
And our website is accelerateillinois.com.
All right.
And people can join as individuals, as organizations, but all across Illinois there are projects in every neighborhood of Chicago that are going to make a difference in shaving time, which is real money in the pocket for commuters. In fact, if you'd like, I'd like to
visual aids, terrific.
A map. Our team has produced a map of projects that are ready to go. These are projects that have been already prioritized in our region. The different colors represent freight, road, green would be bike trails.
Oh, great, wonderful.
And these are all projects. These are communities on the south side of Chicago, from Little Village and Pilsen down to the far south side of Calumet and Roseland. And I think what's frustrating to so many Chicagoans, and this is what we heard when we polled people, is that they want to know where their dollars are going. And so what better than a map to show people this is exactly what will happen if we come together as a community, as a state, and say, we need to fix these problems. It's been a very long time since we've invested. It's one of the best ways to grow the economy, so it's job creating.
Right.
It will help attract and retain companies and also open up opportunities for Chicagoans to save time in their commute, maybe not do a repair because they lost a tire based on a terrible pothole.
Right.
These are real stories that we heard from people.
They impact somebody's personal time, family time, commute time for work, where they live, all that. What I really like about that map, though, is the multicolors shows the coexistence that we need. It's not just rail transportation, but we're doing bike paths at the same time, and you need to look at it very holistically as it crosses into our neighborhood.
That kind of coordinated investment is the smart way to spend money.
Yeah. So tell us also about what you're doing in the area of water.
Yes, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to talk with you today because there's some projects that are new that Chicagoans have a chance to get involved with. And another one is called Great Rivers Chicago.
Great Rivers.
So think about our forebears in Chicago. They did something really remarkable of reclaiming our lakefront. 24 of the 28 miles of Chicago's lakefront are open to the public for recreation.
Right.
We've got more than 100 miles of riverfront, and I didn't know that. I mean, that's just an astounding fact.
And that's within the city?
It's within the city. So it's the north and south branch of the Chicago rivers, but also a segment of the Des Plaines River on the north side and the Calumet River and Lake on the southeast side. And so together we've got, of course, two sides of the river, so river banks, far in excess of 100 miles. But there's this conflict. Your point about coordination a moment ago. We've got industry. We've got recreation, people who want to kayak and do a lot more of that kind of active recreation. You've got uses where there might be a governmental entity. The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, our county sewer agency, owns a lot of riverfront. But if there's a fence there, obviously it's a very real barrier, and there are other barriers. So to think about what our current leaders can do to make this the century of Chicago's rivers. We're going to be leading an effort in coordination with Mayor Emanuel in the city of Chicago, supported by a number of institutions, the Joyce Foundation, Chicago Community Trust, ArcelorMittal have all come together to say, let's really have a big participatory process. So right now on our greatriverschicago.com website, there's a survey up through the beginning of June. We've already gotten hundreds and hundreds of responses, and we want more.
Yeah,
but people
let's
tell
get
us
the word out. Yeah.
People tell us what is their image of the river. What would they like to do? Maybe there can be more restaurants. Maybe there can be bike paths. Maybe there can be floating pathways. I mean, the ideas are very creative.
That's terrific. So that website again for that survey?
GreatRiversChicago.com.
Okay, terrific. And then I know you have a big event coming up in June. Can you tell us about that as well?
Thanks. So the Metropolitan Planning Council is supported not by government, but by individuals and businesses and foundations, and so we need to raise money to do this interesting work.
That's life.
And so one of the ways we do that is through having an annual luncheon. It's a fundraiser, and this year on June 3rd, which is a Wednesday, we're going to have an event with a conversation with J.B. Pritzker.
Terrific.
And I'm really excited about that because he's been one-person source of innovation.
Innovation, inspiration, transformation.
All of those fit J.B. Pritzker, and I'm excited because I get to interview him on June 3rd because we're going to talk about how, what his outlook is on the tech sector, on entrepreneurial economy in general, but also how he connects that to some of our public sector biggest challenges. He's very passionate about early childhood education, about making government work better, social impact bonds, pay for performance, a number of these trends. So we're going to have a great, I think, engaging conversation, and people can get involved in supporting that. Our website is metroplanning.org, and so there's lots of information on there about our June 3rd event. We're also going to be giving an award to Miles White, the CEO of Abbott, who I saw in the news was recently named one of the top CEOs in the world. So he's
Good choice.
definitely got a story
Good
to tell
choice.
too.
That's terrific. So you are doing such amazing work. MPC is doing such amazing work in our neighborhoods, from transportation to water to convening people to the participatory surveys. I want to congratulate you and thank you
Thanks,
very much. If people want to get more engaged with MPC, can you just give them those websites again?
Absolutely. Our main website is metroplanning.org. You can find us on Twitter at MetroPlanners, or my handle is MarySue, MPC. And we also, for projects, you can link through to our projects through our metroplanning.org website, or you can go directly to accelerateillinois.com or greatriverschicago.com.
A wealth of information.
Yes.
MarySue, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank
It's
you,
great
Shelley.
what you're doing for our neighborhoods. Thank you again.
I enjoyed it.